Now to our speaker. If it's about helping people, this guy's in. He's been doing this for his entire life. He co-founded the Thanks Co, which is a company that donates 100% of profits to really to make a change and to make a difference. So I give you guys Ricardo Bueso.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, guys. Really excited to be here. Sorry. So quickly, for everybody who isn't really clear about what the Thanks Co is yet, I don't know if everybody's done their quick little research before being here, but basically the concept behind the Thanks Co is we wanted to prove a concept to people that it's possible for a for-profit company to operate like a nonprofit. The whole movement of social entrepreneurship, and it's taken its place right now, we wanted to say, is it possible to take it to the next level and kind of start this effect and have action take place with other companies and ripple that through. So we're currently an e-commerce site. You can come to our site and you get to pick a product, you get to choose a cause of your choice, and then you get to choose how much you'd like to donate towards that cause. Basically, we think that if a lot of businesses start doing this and it moves in that direction, a lot of impact will definitely take place throughout that. We were really excited to come this morning. I didn't know a lot about Creative Mornings before about 2 weeks ago when Michelle reached out. And it's not because I'm living under a rock or anything like that. But Michelle's talking to us about Creative Mornings, and she said, you know, would you be able to bring your coffee? And we were like, that'd be great, absolutely. And she's like, well, would you also be interested in talking about the Thanks Co? I was like, for sure, absolutely. And then, the theme is action. And I was like, wow, action. What am I going to come and talk to a bunch of people about action who are obviously taking action? Being here this morning, I mean, this is like a microcosm of the macrocosm of action. But so many things started running through my head as I'm thinking about the word action, and like lights, camera, action has just been like running through my head all week. And I don't know, I just go to bed thinking about it. And actually I worked out this week for like the first time in like 6 months. I was like, I have to take action. I'm a little sore. The nap room looks pretty nice right now, but it's a great concept. A little frustrated that we don't have one. But as like the popcorn thinking starts taking place and like things just start coming to my mind, and it's like, well, you know, where do you even start with action? And so I'm sitting with Mike. He's from the Thanks Co, and we're talking about action. I was like, so like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? You think action, and he says, well, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know, like I envision like someone like standing up, like someone like taking a stand, you know, doing something to do something, and it's like, all right, yeah, but we have to like fill 17 more minutes of talking about action. We can't just say that, you know. It was like, what would be the best way to like communicate that? And we're like searching, and I mean, this is sort of what I found. You tell me what you think. What you see here is a gentleman. He's having a great time, right? I mean, he's at this concert. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. He's dancing. He's having an awesome time. Excuse the drug use if there is any. I'm not sure. But what happens is a second buddy joins him, right? And now there's 2 of them. And now there's 3 people who have joined in on the action. And they're flipping around. Oh, and now there's 10. And people are like flooding down to join this now movement that started with 400 people standing in a little area that started with 1 person just having a great time about what they were doing, right? I mean, they started something there. There was a cause that was created. And I was like, I mean, that's definitely taking action. I don't know if anyone's seen this before. But the thing is that video went viral. It went super viral. On one source, it had over 12 million views. And I don't think that the gentleman dancing knew that that was what was going to happen. And then it started spreading. I was like, well, you know what? It's so easy these days to take action. I mean, technology and the advancements and the access to everything, you can instantly, we're hashtagging before the event even starts. And it's like, well, if it's been easier for us, why aren't we taking action quicker? And I was like, well, there's more of a process, for sure. Let me look up this definition. So obviously, the first thing I did, I go to Google, action, definition. I haven't used the dictionary since I was like 10. And I go to dictionary.com, and I find 12 different responses for action, and 5 just under noun. So I was like, I can't put a bunch of definitions up. So I decided to take the 5, and I kind of combined them together and saw certain words that were like popping out to me considering action. And the first one for sure was energetic process, like a process. And I started thinking about my own life and thinking about process. And while taking action has never been easier, it was, what would be the process? How would I break it down? And a mantra that has been like hammered into my head since I was like 5 years old from my father. He's the original gangster, no, the original entrepreneur of the social entrepreneur. He's been doing social enterprise since before the term was even created. It was always this, he started off with, to take action, you need a dream. And and it sounds very lofty and very abstract, but he was like, if you don't have a dream, you can't even start. Like, you can't even go anywhere. So breaking down his process, it was like dreaming, planning, doing. And preparing for this, I was thinking, what was that moment? What was that moment for me? When did I start dreaming or know what I wanted to do? And to be honest, it really started when I was 10 years old. It was right after 9/11. I think 9/11 is something that we all relate to, and we all went through. I grew up in Boston, so we were really close. I remember going home, and school was canceled for like the next week. But at 10, my best friend and I, he lived up the street, and I know it's become like a thing for 10-year-olds to do lemonade stands to do this, but we actually did do that. And we put a lemonade stand, we dressed up like soldiers. I was like Patton, and he was George Washington, so he was like olden day, I was moderner. And we stood out there. The Wellesley Townsman, the newspaper, came out and took pictures, and we raised money for victims, and we started donating that. And so looking back now, 14 years later, it was like there was a seed there. There was something going on there. There was this desire to want to be involved in business because I enjoyed it, and I would go on to study it, but from a very young age. Fast forwarding 3 years, I had a really awesome opportunity to spend the summer in Kenya. And I headed out I found this picture, and like, yes, big dreams may take you to unexpected places for sure. I was looking at this picture, and I noticed this little girl's face. She was kind of petrified being in my arms. I didn't know what was going on. And it was the only good picture that I had to bring. And then thankfully, I found the next one and realized all she wanted was some ice cream. So she got it. And then she was much happier to be in my arms. But it's definitely the simple things that can make a big difference. But being in Kenya, at 13, it was very impactful, the imagery, the inflated bellies through amoeba and starvation. And when you're young, and we were in a place called Kamakunji Grounds, which is like the largest shanty town in East Africa. And I remember being there, and what I remember seeing more than anything was people's attitudes and the gratitude and the satisfaction and the simplicity and the generosity and the welcomeness. And they had nothing. And I knew, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do in my life. I want to help these people. I want to help people rise out of poverty. I knew where I was coming from. I knew what I had. And I said, if this is what I'm able to do, I mean, this is the greatest purpose I could have. I want to dedicate myself to these people. So Kenya, as a long time ago, started this whirlwind that would become of my life. I graduated from high school when I was 15 years old, which was an opportunity that I did not choose to do. I kind of like just was forced sort of to walk through it, and I'm kind of glad that I did now. Starting college immediately after, and then graduating from college when I was 18, that opened up some time in which I really started going to a bunch of these communities, and I started traveling around the world and serving in these places and getting to know these people. The next place that I went that really had an impact during this process of dreaming to planning was I went to Yemen, and I went to go teach English in Yemen for a semester during the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring made a lot of the foreigners that were living in Yemen leave. Yemen was kind of like the hot spot. Going back to social media and the power of technology, the Arab Spring was started solely on social media. My family's from Guatemala, and I don't know if anyone's following current events right now in Central America, but there's been a kind of a revolution going on that really started, not just because there's this United Nations organization that's there cleaning up the corruption, but social media has played a huge role in doing and starting this movement. So when I was in Yemen, it solidified because I saw a similar pattern of what I had seen in Kenya. I saw people that were very grateful and very generous and very simple. And me coming from the United States, you know, with all the comforts that we have, I was just very baffled again. And I said, okay, this is really what I want to do, and the planning will start here. Yemen was an amazing experience. But moving forward, going back to this definition, looking at that process from dreaming to planning to actually doing and considering the different events that happened in my life to come now to the Thanks Co. The second thing was cautiously willing. And someone has to cautiously will to take action, absolutely. Even though it's very easy, it's someone engaging their mind mentally. When someone gets into that desire of passion, what broke your heart, what made you want to do, it doesn't necessarily have to be social entrepreneurship or, you know, going to work for nonprofits or NGOs. You know, this is a creative room. There's graphic designers and there is entrepreneurs here. It was I feel like everybody here had that moment where it was kind of like that click moment where now you started moving forward, some sooner than later. But with this, with considering a conscious will to want to make that change, to want to have that effect, it was like starting in the mind, and it was like, well, how do you define that? I said, it's definitely an education process for yourself. It's really understanding what it is that you want to do. You can't convince other people to be a part of you and to believe in what you want to see happen unless you really know, so that you can clearly communicate that to them. And that's obviously what we want to do with everyone here with Thanks, and what we're trying to do online is have that education campaign. It's really understand this aspect so that everybody else will be able to grasp it and make it their own. And then now you're able to engage, like mentally, like I'm mentally engaging with this concept that I want to see happen. This is the something that I want to do, a something to make happen. And from that engagement, it takes you, this is a really cool picture. This guy is definitely engaging in an action. This is in Tahiti. So your engagement that starts in your mind, it takes you to this physical engagement now. And I noticed with Thanks over the last 2 years, I mean, it's been a rough road. You know, there's been a lot of adversity because what we're claiming to do is not the standard, and it comes with a lot of happiness from a lot of the audience, and it comes with a lot of skepticism, and it comes with a lot of questions a lot of the time. People wondering, like, how can you make that happen? You know, how could that be scalable? How could a concept like that under 100% model be something that you do? But when you're cautiously willing to do something and you've engaged in this process and you've realized I'm going to take action, and it's not just going to be this instant thing where even if I'm going to post something online and I'm going to engage in social media, you know, what I've noticed in my life, I mean, being a part of understanding that it's a process, even to do that, I think that the effectiveness of that, maybe you'll have a video because you're going nuts at a concert and dancing, and then everybody rushes to you and runs down in their underwear to be next to you. And that video like that could totally go viral. But if you're planning this process, and now you're consciously willing to be engaged in it, and understanding a conscious will, I thought, you know, effort definitely plays a huge role in that. So these are just the words that were popping out at me as I was looking at this definition. You can go to dictionary.com and you'll see that these are the first 5 kind of combined. Effort has been something that, I mean, to take action has taken a lot of effort. And when I thought that the best way to look at this would definitely be with the little engine that could. And I really thank Billy Madison for bringing that up a few years ago when he was presenting. He talked about this little engine that would take the train up this lofty hill, and he was the only one that was willing to do it. He didn't know if it would be the one that could, but he thought that he could. And considering Thanks right now, and considering everything that we've been through over the past 2 years, we just launched about 60 days ago. But what has happened over the last 3 years to get us there, it has been climbing a hill of a lot of effort, of a lot of mental engagement, a lot of physical engagement, because we do want to take action. You know, we do want to see this effect ripple and take place. Like the effect of a CreativeMornings. When Tina Eisenberg first thought of a CreativeMornings and said, if I bring coffee and I bring great breakfast and I start a conversation and I bring people together, I don't think that she understood the effect that would, or maybe she did because she's a serial entrepreneur, but what the effect that would be from the conversations that we were having this morning and the conversations that we'll probably have after this, the inspiration, that people collaborating, I mean, that definitely created a ripple effect so that now a lot more people can take action. I think it was very related. So thinking about effort, and it's like, well, where do you get this effort? You know, where have I gotten this effort? From the moment that I went to Kenya, and for today, you know, staying committed to doing this when things are slow, and they haven't sped up yet, because things are slow until they move fast, right? I mean, you look at it, and it's, where's your passion lie? And for me, it was like, where does my passion lie? Why does my passion lie in this? Why am I so engaged in wanting to see this happen? Why is this the effect that I want to see happen? I mean, my passion for me was definitely the memories of my heart breaking in those moments, understanding what I would be able to do a part of that. And a huge part has been the influence of my family and my father and his integrity and his hard work and his desire to do business and create businesses, but not necessarily just to maximize profits, but also to really invest in human capital. My passion, you know, my faith plays a huge role in everything that I do. Just believing, whether you have faith or you don't have faith, I mean, it's whatever you're engaged in, it's having that belief that it is possible, and that when everything's against you and telling you that it's probably not going to happen, I mean, believing is 50% of 100% of everything that you want to do. 50 to 100, I mean, I think that there's other things that have to do everything along with that. And then finally, I mean, starting from the very beginning of where we started, it was like, what is action? It's that something that you want to create a something, right? And it's like, so it's defining that effect. What's that effect that you want to have? With the Thanks Co., we wanted to help people. I mean, our priority was we want to create these areas of impact. We want to identify who are the people that need us most. Primarily veterans have been something that's been really heavy on our heart as we've seen the statistics about veterans. And we said, well, what do we know to do? What we know to do is to provide products, consumer goods. We know how to sell. We know how to engage in this business world. And it does help that, you know, over the past 10 years, social entrepreneurship has become a huge part, especially of my generation and our generation, the millennial generation. That proliferation of the idea that businesses should be more socially responsible has definitely been this foreground that has set it for us. But we said we want to help people, and we want to do business, and if we can bring these together and do it under a 100% model, is that possible? Is that something that we can actually do? Is that something that people will buy into and want to engage with and want to support and want to move forward? But the effect was clearly defined. I mean, the effect was we know what we want to see with the people that we're helping, and not only that, we know what we want to see with the way that we source our products. We want to have this transparent story. We want to tell you that we have gone the extra mile to engage with our suppliers and make sure that if we're going to have coffee, let's not just take advantage of the ability to source coffee quickly through a broker or a middleman. Let's go down to the source and let's meet the people and let's see if we can affect them. Because I don't know if everyone's aware, but coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world after oil, so we definitely drink a lot of it. And a lot of the times what that happens is, since it's become such a huge global industry, that price fluctuation for what farmers are receiving and the way that people will go about sourcing their coffee, it's something that really matters. And farmers, particularly in my country, are suffering from it. Coffee is the product that we most export. So we said, if we can go engage with the farmers, if we can engage with the local roaster, if we can really help on the front end of how we source our products, if we're going to do a fragrance, we've developed a perfume, a ladies' perfume. Ladies, it's a great perfume. I mean, I know ladies are more picky about what they wear, but the guy's cologne, it's beyond, and I wish we would have brought some. But how do we go about sourcing our fragrances, and does that have to be responsibly sourced? You know, even the ingredients that go into it, so talking with the supplier, who we're going to work with. We knew the effect that we wanted to have when we were going to take action with Thanks, and we defined that. Believing, as I just said, it's between 50 and 100%, probably 100%. But collaboration, again, I know that was the main theme last month, but it definitely goes into taking action. I mean, no one would be here right now if we weren't collaborating. And Thanks would not exist if it weren't for the team that exists at Thanks and the people that have decided to leave their jobs and take pay cuts to join this vision, to say it is possible for this to happen. And everything that you see at Thanks has been done because of a team. So it's like you go back to the saying of, tell me who you're with and I'll tell you who you are. And I think that definitely applies. It's, are you surrounding yourself by people that are more passionate than you are? And are you surrounding yourself with people that believe more and envision more and are willing to work longer hours and are willing to engage in this physical and mental cautious will of being with you in that, even though when adversity is coming? I mean, that has been the story of Thanks for the last 2 years. And you'll see our team around here. I mean, it's a group of people that truly believe in seeing this vision happen, and that we want to allow other businesses to follow suit, and that this will become something in the entrepreneurial movement that takes it to the next level. And we love what everyone else is doing. We're not here trying to stand on our high horse and say, well, look, we're going to prove 100% is possible. You only do proceeds, or you only do a certain percentage. No. I mean, the fact that the movement has started is great. And now we're saying, is it possible to start a whole series of companies that are now offering services and products with this nonprofit mindset? We could have been a nonprofit, but we wanted to prove the concept that a for-profit can do it as a nonprofit. And that was the effect defining of us wanting to take action. Talking to everybody here about action has been something like, how am I going to convince people that we know what we're doing when we're taking action, when everybody here is definitely taking action? I start and I close that way because this is inspiring. It's amazing to see people that would take the time on a monthly basis to come out and hear these types of stories and communicate and everything that's spreading about it. I mean, it is inspiring to see the action that's being taken in this place. If I were able to tell you more about Thanks, I think that, I don't know if everyone has been able to see about Thanks. What we wanted to do is show you a short clip that we put together that we felt really embodies this vision and communicates clearly how we want to see this effect take place through the products that people use every day.
Over 7 billion people around the world are waking up to a brand new day. Whether you live across the street or across the ocean, we all share similar dreams. We all want to do good, live a life worth living, and be a part of something greater than ourselves. In a world stained by unequal opportunity, we all want to be part of something truly humane. And while so much good is being done, it's still not enough. Never before in human history have we been so interconnected. We're living in an age of texts and tweets, friends and followers. Yet, why do we still feel so isolated and alone, disconnected? The truth is, this world is loud. It's fast, it's intimidating and competitive. It's consistently telling us what to believe, what to consume, and how to be happy. It makes loving hard and listening a burden. It's the ultimate game of King of the Hill, and we hardly ever have time to ask, what's the point of it all? But when we're so absorbed in our day-to-day routines, trying our best to survive this chaos we've created, no wonder we feel so detached from the world's problems. It's hard enough to manage our own. What if our lives could be more intimately connected with the concerns of others in their pursuit of certain unalienable rights endowed by our Creator? Rights like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What if our everyday choices, big or small, were just the opportunities we need to serve others? What if our daily essentials were the perfect tools to empower communities at home and abroad? What if the point of it all is for us to come together and use what we know to create solutions for the world's greatest challenges? What would it take for this to happen? Think about it. Companies choosing to invest more time and resources into creating meaningful opportunities for those who need it most. Nonprofits working intimately with the communities they serve to provide life-changing hope. You and me purposing to live life more compassionately, reflecting our values through our daily interactions. Imagine, from the hands that craft your favorite products to the logistics teams that send them around the world, to you who can make the greatest impact. All of these pieces working together to do good better. What if this was possible? Could we do it? If I told you it is, would you believe me? It's a brand new world. Give thanks.
So the quick story behind that is that the gentleman that you heard his voice, his name's Andrew, and we met him at a coffee shop in Pembroke Pines when we were working, when our office was a coffee shop. And I don't know if you heard his voice. I mean, the sound isn't great, but his voice really captivated us, and then his story captivated us, and he was just veteran, and he was homeless. So we've been working with him, and from the moment that we were just having these conversations, and we were just planning out the company and what we wanted to do, and then meeting someone like him and seeing how we could immediately work with him and impact his life and see him through to do that, to create this type of video where we could communicate, bringing business and social entrepreneurship and creating direct impact together and involving him with the voice. And that is the essence of Thanks. And that is the message that we want to communicate. And that's the culture that we want to have. I mean, if we're defining action with the effect that you want to have, I mean, that's absolutely it. So I thank everybody for being here. I hope that I can take your questions and answer everything. Awesome. Thank you so much.